Hi, this is Ed from thedailyrabbithole.com and the Adalah channel on YouTube, back again with another video. Thank you to everyone on Patreon, Maker Support and Steam It for supporting my videos. I'll be leaving Maker Support soon. Just trying to see if I can sort out being paid, the money that's in there. Thank you to everyone that is subscribed, and if you do watch on YouTube, make sure to click the bell there. Let's just really get right into it. First part is here from Pink Floyd, brought to you by Clarity, a Signal here on a great Steam It post, really encapsulating this all into an article. What's going around the internet is Roger Waters there from Pink Floyd denounces the White Helmets as a fake organization that is openly creating propaganda to hide some terrorists that are working in that part of the world. That's my belief, end quote. He stated, the White Helmets, you see, won an Academy Award. Hollywood gave them an Academy Award. They actually did. Documentary about the White Helmets got an Academy Award because the military-industrial complex runs Hollywood. Let's have a look at the video here with Roger Waters talking. I won't play the whole thing, but all links will be placed in the comment section. And you check out Clarity Signal's post there for all these videos with backups there on DTube as well, not just YouTube. Let's play.
His name's Pascal, something or other, and he wanted to come on stage and make a speech this evening about Duma, about East Ghouta, about what he believes was a chemical attack on the people of Duma by Bashar Assad. Hang on a minute, let me finish. And he is one voice. I personally think he's entirely wrong. I believe the organisation that he purports to represent and who he supports, the White Helmets, are a fake organisation that exists only to create propaganda for the jihadists and terrorists who are working in that part of the world. That's my belief, so we have opposing beliefs. But
see, someone who was a pro-White Helmets supporter tried to get on the stage there for Pink Floyd to make a propaganda speech for the White Helmets, and Roger Waters probably said no, because I don't believe that. I think the White Helmets are a terrorist organization. A lot of evidence for that, actually. If you look at the photographic evidence and etc., we've all gone on to that before in this channel, but there is Roger Waters there from Pink Floyd fame calling out the White Helmets, and let's just play a little bit of the classic here. Of course, there's the Commodore 64 version. Meanwhile here, WikiLeaks saying ISIS, financed by Saudi Arabia, used chemical weapons at least 52 times in Syria and Iraq, according to the New York Times, citing London's IHS conflict monitor. So ISIS uses chemical weapons 52 times in Syria, and then when there's a alleged chemical weapons attack there in a Syria-held or Al-Qaeda-held stronghold in Syria, in their territory, the first thing the international community says, the great leaders of the world, they state that, it's Assad that did it. No one's buying the narrative, okay? It doesn't even make sense to anybody. All you have to do is, the obvious is Donald Trump was going to leave Syria. Now he's putting boots on the ground there, and he's going to stay there, according to all the number of reports, from the mainstream media, CIA mouthpieces. There, he's going to stay in Syria. That will be another Iraq, another classic. The UK as well, France as well. Think of how much money is wasted into this proxy war in order to justify making trillionaires out of the people that want the new pipeline. And they can't make the argument that, we need the gas all the way from the Middle East, okay? Because if you're looking at a 30-year timeline, people could be, I power my house bus off solar. Okay, you're not going to be able to power a lot of things off solar, but a lot of places you can build more dams, you can dam rivers. There's lots of different energy systems in order to recalibrate the power of your society that could be used. if they were, done in an industrialized scale. Whereas you're getting gas all the way from the Middle East there. It supplies, of course, Russia supplies half of Europe's natural gas needs. So it would be a significant energy loss, obviously. But who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. You have to do the hard math on it. I might be completely wrong. There might be no other way to replace that energy. Nonetheless, they want, it's the Anglo-Saxon American pipeline there in Syria. The Bilderbergers want their own pipeline. That is their own pipeline. The Anglo-Saxon American pipeline, which no one in Europe, the average person or anyone, will ever benefit from. You won't get any extra money for that, but you will be paying literally trillions of dollars in the long term on this proxy war in order to give that pipeline to them. Just want to discuss this very quickly while we're on this chemical weapons and Syria. There's a lot going around the internet talking about how Donald Trump bombed a deep state lab, chemical lab in Syria. Now, I believe this is, very wishful thinking. Okay, this is, and this is what happens when someone like Donald Trump, people start, obviously a lot of people like Donald Trump, they voted for him, but I think there's no evidence for that. And what they're citing for this, the fact that he bombed a deep state chemical lab, is they're actually citing this here. So this is, an advisory entity that advises on chemical weapons and things like that, biosecurity, national terrorism. It's filled with very serious people, billionaires, oligarchs, Ted Turner, you can see there, for example, and numerous other individuals, Governor of California there, and numerous names, including Warren Buffett and all kinds of people from really the heights and echelons of power. The California governor isn't in the same league as Warren Buffett, but you get the kind of picture. So they're citing this because of this, they say. Now, part of this website, and I'm not saying this isn't, totally the globalist entity. It absolutely is, right down to the address, which is 1776 I Street. That's just down from the eclipse and the Masonic owl symbolism there of the Capitol Hill and, etc. and so on and so forth. We won't get too much into that. I've done numerous amounts of videos on it. You can search for those on the Outer Dark channel. The main point is this is what people are citing, and that's the fact that they had, a picture of Syria and a weapon system there in Damascus, etc. And a lot of people, I think, made the mistake of thinking that this was a location where these people had a weapons factory. That's not the case if you read this section here. What it is they're referencing weapons factories throughout the world, or places they believe there are weapons factories. And that's what they do. They advise on where these places are. Well, they make internal reports that you don't see on websites. So what they're talking about here is this isn't the entity that's been bombed. This entity's naming places that are now being bombed. They had named these places beforehand. So, in my opinion, there's no evidence, and I'm not, I don't look for flying saucers sitting in my backyard in order to necessarily believe in UFOs or anything like that. So I don't need that kind of evidence. I just need something in order to think about. Maybe, and then I might think about it and go, oh, maybe it's possible, because I don't really know. But the point is here is that this is actually really talking about that, and they've since had an update here since the attack itself, and you can read all about this, but prior to this they were just naming it as a location, and they are what they are. This is a tax write-off for a lot of very important people, as well as a very powerful organization. Okay, this is an extremely powerful organization here, there is no doubt about that. At all, really. So Elizabeth Lee Voss got temporarily locked out of her account. Being anti-war while in the possession of an audience is against Twitter's rules, I see. Account unlocked. So she was temporarily locked out of her account there for what? Tweeting about things. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that is Twitter and Facebook. They are literally, when you're using them, it's like you're in primary school or something. It's like being back in kindergarten, what they refer to in the UK, or primary school, or whatever. You know, these kinds of places. When you're like 5 years old and you're learning to put blocks in line or something, and the teacher goes, "Hey, did you swear?" And you go, "No, I didn't swear." And go, "I heard you swear. Make sure you don't, please don't use that language in this room." And go, "Oh, okay." That's what it's like. It's not a serious place for adults that think about things to be. It is a place for, you know, I'm not saying we have to be on there, obviously, because you have to read posts and it is a place. But what I'm saying is there, you know, overall, if you look at it, it's not like an adult environment. It's like a primary school. That's who runs that place. Trump hits Russia with new sanctions over Syria gas attack. So Donald Trump is blaming Russia because Russia is allies with Assad, who's elected leader of Syria itself. And it's just so flimsy these days. I mean, you're looking at the stuff and it's falling apart, okay? It doesn't make any sense. American Airlines warns pilots some Asian flights could be rerouted amid tensions with Russia. More of it. More flights, but then who really flies? I guess this is flights to maybe Egypt or Yemen or places like that. Would be disrupted. I'm not sure what flights go there anyway. Francis Macron says he persuaded Trump to keep troops in Syria. So it looks like he's persuaded, you know, and then it came out that he said this and he starts to backtrack a little on it. But the fact is the first thing he said is he did it. Okay, so somehow he's persuaded Trump to keep troops in Syria. You know, which is to, for whatever reason. I mean, it's Iraq 2.0 now, etc., etc. Here's Russian reinforcements. And by the way, I'm going to stop doing so much Syria news tomorrow, okay? Otherwise it'd just be Syria, Syria, Syria. It'll be a little bit in the beginning, but not too much at all. I'm just kind of tired of it. I mean, it's no different than it was in Iraq and so on and so forth, and whatever decade you want to go to. Seems far more unstable now. Far more unstable, but because, you know, it is what it is. Russian reinforcements head for Syria. Warships laden with tanks, military trucks and armoured patrol boats sail towards the Middle East as the world awaits Putin's response to airstrikes. 16th of April. So a huge armada there, really headed in that direction. Warships, all sorts of things. Of course, Russia's totally outmanned, okay? So that's what makes it even more dangerous. It's like a wounded bear. You know, its only way it could stay afloat is really nuclear weapons. It definitely cannot fight toe-to-toe with the United States in just a ground war, but that's not what kind of war that Russia would fight. Okay, so let's have a look at this. This is a classic. This was one person who on Reddit Conspiracy was talking about Roundup. I've seen this on Reddit Conspiracy here. They were, you know, Roundup weed killer is safe and effective. You may have seen news questioning the safety of some Roundup weed killer products and their active ingredient. So he was actually reading, or she was reading, people are mostly good. We just hear about bad more to create, you know, together we stand. He was just reading an article there on Reddit Conspiracy and getting these ads about Roundup or whatever. So what is that? That's not really advertising, is it? It's not advertising. I mean, it's not selling you a can of soup or a bottle of Roundup. It's really propaganda. So this is an interesting one. This is from the BBC, which is a total PSYOP publication, but nonetheless, it's got nothing to do with politics at all. So it's just an article. I was a teacher for 17 years, but I couldn't read or write. So this individual done all number of things in order to get through their exams, you know, passing notes or getting other people to write their homework and their essays in the exam room, you know, all kinds of things. Literally, the plot out of every, you know, movie. He was handing any of these high school movies, handing the exam out the windows and these kinds of things, and he ended up as a teacher for 17 years but couldn't read or write. Main point in this isn't really to criticize him for any of this. I mean, if the system didn't notice, then it's the system that's broken, okay? If the system didn't understand he couldn't read or write, but was actually teaching reading and writing, then it's the system that's completely broken. But nonetheless, I was just thinking about it. What kind of mind you'd have to have in order to survive for that long as a teacher and you couldn't read or write? Like how abstractly you'd have to think for every scenario. Like, oh, they're going to ask me to write something on the board. I have to figure out a way around that, every single day. I thought it was kind of quite extraordinary how someone could survive that long teaching and not being able to read or write at all. That is, understand anything, even in the books that they're teaching from. They probably have to memorize it or get someone else to read it to them and memorize it. So here's just a little thing about H3 Productions. H3 Productions, which is a YouTube channel I like. I think this person's completely rational to me. And they talk about politics and all sorts of things. But the main point is they are in trouble. They are in trouble because they said something. What they said was this. This is from their account there. So they stated, this is Ethan Klein here, stated, "My dick just touched the inside of the toilet bowl. There is no other solution. I'm cutting my dick off." So he's saying that because he has his problem with germs. Okay? He has a problem with germs. But there was mass outrage for this. There was mass outrage for this because of his next comment. He said, "I'm Alan, now call me Alan." But he instead of Ethan, he wanted to be called Alan because he said he was cutting his genitals off there. The main point about this is the fact that after this was said on his Twitter, there was a huge outrage. Everyone was calling him transphobic and all these kinds of things. I mean, if you, they said H3 is transphobic, and there began this huge movement in order to make him pay for that comment. Like, it was so huge, he made a video in reply to it. Now it's all around the internet, people going, why is everyone outraged by that? He's just making a joke. But of course there is a very sensitive proportion of cultural Marxist and identity politic driven individuals that is their entire lives, is really categorizing identity within a sociological context. For them, this is everything. This is their bread and butter, and offense is their bread and butter. So when they seen this, they were outraged by it. Outraged, anyone would say it. You know what? If anything like this ever happens, you should never apologize. Even if you only apologize if you believe in your heart that you're wrong. If you don't believe you're wrong, don't apologize. Because if you do apologize for something you don't believe you're at fault for, you lose a piece of something of yourself, your soul. And I mean, you can say that in a spiritual context, but also look at it in a psychological one. Every time you apologize for something that you never did, that you don't think was wrong, it changes your personality. It changes who you are. It changes it in multiple different ways. Of course, if someone is learning to ski and they go to sleep, the next day after they've slept on it in this weird, strange pattern, which is sleep, and changes your brain, the next day you're going to be able to ski better. They say after sleep you can do the task better that you tried to do the day before. If you're adjusting your personality daily, apologizing, you sleep on this, and like a piece of clay, you're molded into that entity that's going to apologize for things. I wouldn't apologize if I said something like that. I probably wouldn't say it anyway. I don't really say much on Twitter or anything, but the point is that why apologize? All you should say is, really, why should I apologize? I don't feel sorry for it. I didn't do anything that I think is, wrong. And of course, they can let the outrage continue, but that's all you don't owe anybody a reply to anything. You don't even owe them a response. You don't owe anybody an apology. There's nowhere you owe an apology to everyone. You can apologize. Obviously, it's nice. It's a good form to apologize if you're in the wrong, obviously. But those are all social etiquette rules. You don't owe it to anybody like you owe someone $2,000 in a contracted form. I don't know, it seems like outrage has just gone to outrage level 9. Air Force One needs new refrigerators, $29 million apparently in the United States. A lot of people are saying that's quite expensive. I was looking there going, how's that possible? To be fair though, it is Air Force One, which is the United States President's plane, and the refrigerators, I guess, are not the same as you'd get in a conventional Boeing 747 that the cabin crew or the flight attendants would bring out the food on. It's probably a bit more advanced, I'm not sure, but I would look at that and I go, that is a lot of money for refrigerators, $29 million for refrigerators. But that's usually how it is, I guess, with these kinds of things. I still don't know how that's possible, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, coming to the end of the video here, 20 minutes on target, I wanted to show you something funny. Okay, this is pretty funny. This is a Grandmaster sheepdog. Okay, this sheepdog is one of the greatest sheepdogs you've ever seen. Okay, and he's hurdling these sheep. So let's have a look how this turned out for this sheepdog there. You can see the sheepdog there and all these sheep. They're very afraid. And sheep, are synonymous with those old kind of parables like the magician and the sheep and, these kinds of things. That's one day I'll say, I've said that one in the past, so I'm not going to repeat it. But, these parables, of like the little sheepdog and the sheep, or the shepherd here. So let's have a look at what happened. Sometimes fear, because remember, sheep are afraid of dogs. That's how it works. The sheep in society are afraid of the dogs. So it doesn't take many dogs to kind of round up sheep. It only takes even a little wee dog, because their fear controls them. It controls the flock as it goes. So let's have a look at what happened here. So there he is. He's really going after them. Uh-oh. Look at this. He's not so sure now. And now all the sheep are running after him. Look at them. Look at that sheep. Look at the sheepdog. He tried to round them up, and now they're chasing him around the field. Okay? So yeah, they could actually hurt him because he's very small. It's a very small dog, obviously. Look at how they're speeding up. Okay, so I just thought that was funny. You have this little dog and it's kind of like controlling these sheep. But then as soon as they lose their fear, start going after him, the whole flock continues. And then he's going round there. Look at him. It's like doing a big circle. How to sheepdog, it says. Seen that on Vote. I thought it was quite funny. Cute little dog, though. I wonder what country this is in. It's probably in, I don't know, Great Britain or somewhere like that. You've got some pretty clean-cut hedges there in the back. You could tell, of course, a farmer or something that breeds sheep could tell what type of sheep these are and work out where in the world it is. Maybe it's in New Zealand. I don't think so, though. We don't have those types of, usually that array of different sheep here in New Zealand. New Zealand lamb, for example, from sheep, costs as much as it does in New Zealand than it does in the United States. When I was over in the United States, I was walking along there. Can't remember I can't remember. I can't remember where I was. Maybe it's Trader Joe's. No, it's more expensive than Trader Joe's, right? I can't remember where I was. It was some big, massive supermarket or grocery store. I was walking along and they said, hey, there's some New Zealand lamb. And over there was some New Zealand butter. And I looked at it and I go, hey, actually, you know what? It wasn't more expensive. It was actually cheaper. And I looked at that and I go, why is that cheaper here? Because we have to import the lamb over to the United States. And then a bell went off in my mind and I go, it's because, our lamb is regulated by a massive corporation called Fonterra or whatever it's called. So what they do, in my speculation, is they're setting the prices that they can sell it for overseas as the same price as we have to pay here in New Zealand. So if I get a piece of New Zealand lamb, which probably has never happened in the last 10 years, I could probably count it on my fingers the last time I've ever eaten it, even though we're one of the main exporters of lamb. If I buy a piece of lamb, And I've spent long periods of time as a vegetarian, okay? So it's a bad kind of scenario, but when I was eating meat and lamb, I guess, if I bought a piece of lamb, it would actually cost me more in New Zealand than it does in the United States. Welcome to globalism, okay? Yes, that really is a successful model. I mean, I can't even afford, literally, I can't afford to go down and have a lamb roast or anything like that. That is out of my price range, okay? That is literally, I don't know how much it costs to roast. I was looking in the other store and just, interested. And it was like something like 25, oh no, it was like about 35 or 30, I think it was 35 New Zealand dollars. So what's that, like about 20, 23, 24, I don't know what can't work it out off the top of my head, but it's like 23, 25 USD or something like that, maybe something roughly around that. And I was thinking, holy cow. And when I went to the United States, everything's cheaper. I used to walk it down because I was there for a while, months and months and months. And I was walking down the road and I'd go get my coffee in the morning. And go, it's $1. Or I can't remember. I think it was $2. And I go, that's $2. And, like have a big cup with the half and half in it. And I was going, wow, that's only like $2. In New Zealand, it's about $7. Okay. Actually, it's probably it'd be at least $4 or $5 US for a cup of coffee. And that's, you'd get a mini cup for that. You would not get the big tall ones you get there at 7-Eleven. And you can put as much half and half, you want in there, or creamer or whatever, and you can put all the sugar and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm even bothering talking about that, but I just wanted to point it out. I don't know why I went on that tangent. Nonetheless, thank you to everyone that supports my channel on Patreon. Make a support no matter how you do it. Steam it, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever you do. Thank you so much for your support, and you really do absolutely help keep this channel going. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed to my channel. Do make sure to click the bell there if you want to see my videos show up there in the subscription feed, because remember what YouTube said. YouTube basically said, and I did a video on this, obviously you've seen it, they said, oh, no, we don't show everybody your subscriptions. Just some people. Oh, what kind of people? Oh, we don't know. It's all classified. It's all top secret. In other words, they're just adjusting who, if they don't want a channel getting lots of views or whatever, they'll make sure that, and that channel might only have 1,000 subscribers. They'll make sure none of the subscribers see the video. It doesn't, what can I say? I shouldn't complain about it too much. I've kind of like, I've built up 3 channels to 50,000 subscribers and left them, or 2. So, I can't really complain that no subscribers see my videos after building channels up to 50 or 60,000. They're saying, okay, I'm going to make a new channel now. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, right? So, hey, I shouldn't complain, but hey, I can complain for other people. It's not fair to other people that are growing their channels and they've only got 1,000 people or 2,000 subscribers and none of them are seeing the actual video show up in their feeds. That's not fair, okay? It's not fair to them. Yeah. I don't know. Years ago, about 2 years ago, I was thinking I should have made a top 10 channel, If I made a top 10 channel and just had that on the side, then, obviously you probably have no problems with the top 10 channel. You always get your views and stuff. The only problem is I couldn't do it. I could make a top 10 channel, but it would turn into top 10 reasons why the Illuminati. That's what happens, I can't do anything normal, okay? It's not going to happen. I'm stuck in this kind of like mirror world, tinfoil is real conundrum of a labyrinth where everything is just all backwards. Where they ban journalists like this, they lock them out of their accounts, and the people that own these companies are praised as heroes, or have all this ingenuity and invention or whatever. Well, at least we still have Roger Waters calling out this kinds of stuff, right? Let's play a little bit more here.
If we were to listen to Pascal, and if we would listen to the propaganda of the White Helmets and others, we would be encouraged to encourage our governments to go and start dropping bombs on people in Syria. This would be a mistake of monumental proportions in terms of us as human beings. Well,
It's a strange thing, isn't it? They've kind of like, you know, it's everything's the reverse. If you weren't into conspiracies and these kinds of things, you'd totally think, I'm not even saying this, well, it's classically a conspiracy, the white helmets, isn't it? I mean, it's just because the CIA invented the word conspiracy theorist in order to debunk intellectual narratives or questioning things doesn't mean we can't use the word conspiracy theorist as its dictionary definition or classical definition of, you know, group of individuals trying to engineer, you know, a set outcome in in a clandestine way, which is, you know, what a conspiracy is. You know, but if you're a normal person that just read the newspaper and watched Antiques Roadshow, hey, I watch Antiques Roadshow, okay? The point is if you're just a normal person, you know, like your grandma or something who does her knitting and, you know, nice person all around, but doesn't really have an interest in any of these things, and you've seen the White Helmets documentary, you'd think, oh, how good they are. You know, they said it was a gas. Oh, we have to believe them now. It's the White Helmets said it. Did you see that? They said it. Okay, we believe them. And that's the thing. It's like it's a weird world, isn't it? Everything's the reverse, depending on how much information you have. More information you have, the more the world seems to be really weird. I'll tell you, it's just really weird. Sometimes I'm rubbing my temples, it's so weird. In the meantime, though, I've got to get out of here. It's 31 minutes. In the meantime, this is Ed from the Alat channel and the dailyrabbithole.com. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all later.